Hi, and welcome back again to another episode. Okay, so I thought that I was just going to talk a little bit about what I've been doing and where we are now. Okay, because my material, I mean, all the videos that I made so far, um, well, they are going to change how we see our development. Our development has not been understood, not entirely. There have been too many factors involved that have been too close to us, that have hindered our ability to see what has happened. This has now changed. We have grown as a species. We have gathered enough information. We have traveled the world. We have conquered it. We have also created an internet now where we can finally meet in the same place. So mankind, since its beginning, has not been able to meet and share in the way that we are doing now. So time has finally taken a full circle and brought us all the way around. And now we are sharing our knowledge, and this knowledge is now tying up us, man and woman. Okay. Now, my research here has gone into now the skeleton of understanding itself. Okay, let's say that again. My research is going into the skeleton of language itself and understanding. Understanding. It began with language, but now we're going into the bones of language, meaning the mind. So we're looking at how we understand something. Okay, let me take an example. I'm going to use my lovely plant that has been with us for so many episodes. Okay, this lovely plant right here. Yes, now I did say what it is, but it doesn't matter. Um, what is it? Okay, it is a plant. What else? What else is it? It depends on the eyes that see. Okay, so this is a plant for me, but it is also beauty. It is also nature. It is also a gift. It is also nature's expression. It is also biology, chemistry. It is also, very many different things, depending on the eyes that see. Okay? So this is like we're going into now the psychology of language. Okay, so half empty, half full. Right? Perception. Yes. So what we're seeing is that perception is dividing mankind, and that division is creating a different type of expression. And this expression would later develop, reinforcing that divergence or distinction that occurred among us, mankind. So my research has now broadened so much that it is including all mankind. All mankind is now included in this work, because we are tracing I am tracing, my work is tracing the development of cognition, of the mind, not of the psyche. The psyche was already ready when we began realizing our own existence. So that, not psyche, no, but the mind. We are looking at the mind and what happened to the mind of mankind, how we diverged, and why this divergence would later reinforce this distinction that would cause us to develop differently. Yes, okay, so that was it. Now I gave you a little bit of the whole perception thingy bob and how we define something or understand something. Why does one people have 50 words for snow and another people have no word for snow, right? So this is all tied to our experience with and the environment that we live in naturally, but also our perception. Why did someone develop the idea of God, and why did another people not, or why didn't the other people not develop an idea of an absolute? Why do these? How are these ideas understood? That is what we're looking at. How something is understood. This is very difficult to grasp. Okay, very. We're now going into the subtlety of subtleties. This is very difficult. Okay, very. You have to be very quick here. Very quicker than your mind. Okay, we have to be a bit quicker than our mind to get our mind. Yes, we have to be a step ahead of it. Yes, so in other words, we have to know the pattern our mind operates in, the whole faculty, the whole cascades that our minds operate in, and understand something, abstract and extract or disseminate something, and know it, be aware of it so that you are ahead of it, so that it doesn't do that before you realize, well, so that it doesn't operate automatically and habitually. Okay, no autopilot. We don't want an autopilot. We want presence, intelligence, stillness. We want stillness. Stillness is our original state. So my work has tackled this project in the opposite way than linguists have today. Linguists, so the development goes, right? Development goes, and linguists are going it from the back and going into the source, whilst I have found the source and going out and seeing how this development has occurred. Okay, it's a bit difficult to understand. Our original state is stillness. We did not know how to speak. Speech had to be developed, and it developed according to our understanding, our cognition. And how we understand something distinguishes how we express it, how we communicate it. Thus, our languages will follow those lines. This is very simple. It's very simple, but not easily grasped. Not by the masses. The masses do not know this. The masses have not realized stillness, their original state. They have not been able to shut the automated processes in our minds, reaching that point where they are only still, only present, and only intelligent. Yes. It's a very difficult task and a lot of work, a lot of introspection, a lot of meditation, a lot of reflection is required to reach stillness. But it's not impossible. Okay, so that was 10 minutes of that. Okay, Now, now we're going to continue on what I began with yesterday and how this development further continues and how it affects us. Okay, so I've asked it to pile up a list of Indo-European pronouns. Okay, and that this was just to see, well, just to see which one had the ego, right? Because this one elucidates to that new development, and as you can see, most of them do. Most of them do, not the Persian or the Hindi. Yes, not those as far away. They didn't. They did not get that. But they did as well. They did as well with Alexander the Great and stuff, because we're all Indo-Europeans. So, but okay, let me go on. So make a list of the ancient languages, including Albanian. Okay, and it did. Indo-European, Indo-Aryan branch. Sorry, Hellenic branch. Italic, Germanic, Celtic, Balto-Slavic, and Thraco-Illyrian Balkan branches, which it kind of like places Albanian in. It places Albanian here. So Albanian is a language that uh, belongs to one of these groups or all of them. We don't know. We don't know if these are just different dialects of the same language or if they diverged in a sense or way. But that this was too early on for them to be fully distinct, like we understand it today. So this is a bit difficult for us to understand today because now we are so many people and we have developed so much and we've all become very distinct. But the further back in time you go, the further identities there were and the further languages there were as well. So that languages take a long time to develop, so that all of them are actually quite related the further back we go now. They're all intelligible because they come from the same family, right? So they're all intelligible almost during this time. And even although they differ in orthography, in written form, or in some pronunciation, the root words are all intelligible. So these people could talk to each other a long time back, approximately 3,000 years back, 5, okay, before the Latin and the Greek civilizations occurred. They could all speak the same language. Yes, because they were a big family. Okay, that's how families are, right? Okay. Now, the reason why I don't agree with the mainstream science is because of the fact that that is exactly what has led to this, right? We in Europe were the first to develop a concatenated language. That is a, a deductive, a reductive language. The word concatenated means or consists of con, which means together, and cat, which means chain. But it actually, well, concept and cat means also stairs or steps. So that is what it is. It's a step by step. It's a Lego process. So the Indo-European mind were very deductive. They reduced because they wanted to get to that root. Okay, so and that is how we now see this divergence, where they developed a bit differently from our Semitic brothers and sisters. Okay. Yes, I'm just going to go through. This is just a list of all the languages. Okay, all of them are old, but the further back we go, the closer and closer to each other they are, right? And then ultimately they will be the same. They will be the same, right? Just in the Latin languages today, we have so many countries, very many nationalities, very many identities. But this is not it. This was not how it was. Even Umbrian and Faliscan And all these other words, we don't know whether they represented actual different people or just different groups of the same people. We don't know that, right? Because we don't know. We don't have any historical accounts. And but we now see how easy it is to create distinction where there is none. Okay, just the Slavic languages. Look at the Slavic languages today, how many countries they are, and how much they do not like each other and fight each other, even like Ukraine and the Russians. Now, obviously, that's just a geopolitical thing, so I'm not going to go into that. But the point is that Slavs have fought each other, although they belong to the same family, and many others have as well. We all have, but especially Europe. Europe is the place where distinction occurred. Europe was the first place where I was not the same as you. Okay? That is what language shows us. Language is showing us that. And we will see why. Well, I did show you why in the previous one, where we have the Semitic that say you. When they say you, they say me and you. Whilst we say you, just you. So you are now, you're not even included in the word. Okay, so you're a different thought, where our words are being divided as thoughts. So we in the West are compartmentalizing. We're becoming better at compartmentalizing and deducing and reducing into its smallest bits and create a distinction. So we in the West were very interested in details, it seems. Details. Distinction. We wanted to distinguish things so that we could understand them in their elementary form. Yes. And that is what led to this new development. Okay. Yes. Okay. So this is just some notes on the pronoun system. The Proto-Indo-European had distinct pronouns for nominative and oblique cases and different roots for emphatic and enclitic use. Okay. The third person pronouns in many branches were later replaced or reinforced by demonstratives. Latin is ea, Greek autos. Okay, this autos, os, is, us, ea. These new ones, these are later linguistic features that were added during these civilizational peaks. Because these civilizational peaks would also be peaks in knowledge and intelligence or intellectual understanding, right? So yes, so that would then require a linguistic shift or a detail to mark or denote that extra information that we wanted to convey. Okay. Yes. Armenian and Albanian are conservative in some aspects, but innovative in others. Sure. But what I'm doing is, okay, can we test if we shared a lexicon before we diverge in mindset? We should be able to gather all morphemes in Semitic and Indo-European languages to see if words and ideas spread across family language groups, despite the later linguistic divergence. Indo-European concatenative morphology versus the Semitic non-concatenative morphology. Yes, okay. But we're going to go a bit deeper than this because we're going to include the Sino-Tibetan and we're going to include all the others, the Dravidians. We're going to include everyone, the Uralic, the Turkic, all the language groups, okay? Because we are going to look at their minds. Yes. So this channel now will be looking at the minds of different people, of different groups of men and women on Earth, and how they developed and why they became the way they did, and what represents this folk spirit that they hold so proudly. onto. And they should. Why shouldn't they? We should hold on to everything. Everything is something we have inherited. But now, finally, time has come so that all this knowledge can be circulated across Earth, and new people can be exposed to both the new and the old, bringing it all together for the first time. So we are really in a beautiful era. This is we will see a shift in consciousness because of this knowledge. This knowledge will unite us. It will unite us because we will understand each other on a deeper level. We will understand why we became the way we did and why the others didn't, or well, our cousins didn't. So this is a deep and valuable question that touches on historical linguistics, comparative philology, cognitive science, and the philosophy of language. You're asking, is there empirical evidence, particularly in the form of shared lexical roots or morphemes, to suggest that Semitic and Indo-European languages once drew from a shared pool of concepts and words before diverging into distinct morphological and cognitive systems? Yes. Let's unpack it. The theoretical framing. You're proposing that before Indo-European and Semitic language families diverged morphologically, they may have shared a common or interacting lexicon, a pre-divergence linguistic substrate. Evidence for this could be seen in morphemes or root concepts, la, ma, na, that are present in both families. Morphological divergence, affixation versus root pattern could be a later innovation tied to changes in cognition, worldview, or even philosophy, rather than an immediate split from a common proto-language. Yes. So, okay, we know that the word for mom and dad are pretty much the same across families because of our mouth. Because of our mouth and our bodies, our animalistic bodies that cry. Ma, 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 pa, pa, pa. I'm not going to cry like a baby for you right now because you have heard a baby. But the point is that these sounds are universal. So our first language was universal. This is not hocus pocus. Our first language was universal. We share the same sounds, we share the same mouth, we share the same eyes, the same nose, the same brain, the same organs. We're man and woman. We're not looking at skin color. We're not looking at eye color. We're not looking at religion, culture, ethnicity. We're not looking at these false ideas. Okay? They are factual, sure, but they are not the truth of our being. Our being is universal. There is man and there is woman. There is nothing in between. Sure, there are androgynous people out there, but that is because of the number that we exist in. The number we exist in and all the external factors of the modern life that are now contributing to a more artificial life are also messing with us, both biologically but also psychologically. They are, naturally, they would do, because we are not living with nature like we used to do. We're living with highly processed food, with unnatural products, and with everything, plastic, everything. Right? I don't need to tell you all these things. We know that the modern life that we live in now is artificial. I mean, for God's sake, I'm talking to a camera. Like, I'm talking to a camera right now, right? This is nonsense. This would have been magic just some years, like 100 years back. They would have burned us at the stake, right? For all this knowledge. So knowledge is scary, okay? Knowledge is scary, and it is growing, and this growth is further spreading and diverging, causing us to not see what links us, right? But we are very linked. We began as one family. We had the same sounds. We understood all what these sounds meant. It was very simple, okay? But we split early on, and then the use of this sound, or how we understood something. So someone would look at this together with nature. They would not look at this plant and abstract it or extract it from nature and call it something, right? A lot of people did not do that, but Europeans did. Europeans took this out of nature and said, oh, this is a flower. The other ones didn't. They were like, no, this is nature. This is nature. What do you mean a flower? This is all nature. They did not distinguish between the grass and a flower. Sure, they knew that it was different because obviously they could see it. They could see that the flower was different from the grass and different from a tree. But it was all nature. That's what they understood. So they didn't begin diverging yet, right? But some did. Some began this journey first. And that is what we are kind of like tracing. We're tracing this cognitive, you could say intellectual development. But it spans across so many fields because it spans across art, science, culture, so the social aspect of the society, the natural circumstances that those people lived in, and the diet and everything else, right? So tons of factors, right? Tons of factors. But in the beginning, it was very simple. It was ma, pa, eat, drink, go, sleep. It was very simple. But now this research is what I am now looking at is how the skeleton of understanding emerged and how it differed, how it diverged. Okay. Now, before I continue on and talking, because I can go on and on, we are going to continue here. Okay. Right. Now, so now it is getting my idea. What would evidence for a shared lexicon look like? We would need to identify shared core morphemes across both families. Yes. Phonological correspondences. Yes. Regular sound correspondences. Yes. So we need to gather all the words, and thankfully we have language models. We have AIs that can do this work, and it will do it. Like it will do it within a few years. So within a few years, we're going to have a very different type of understanding of what has happened to our languages. Okay. Structural and semantic parallels in core vocabulary. A few examples that are cited in debates. Yes, ma, right? I told you ma, pa, pa, pa. Or a for father, and ma for mother. Father, a, ba, ba, pa, ta. Okay? Very simple. Ma, ma, na, ma. Amma. Mom. And these two principles would be the foundational knowledge that we would grow through, because we only knew mom and dad. Your whole life has only been your mom and dad until you yourself became a mom or a dad. So mom and dad was the first thing we could have realized. So the ideas, we realized, that had a sound. Ma, pa. These sounds, so that would stand for the strong, the safe, the reliable, the unmoving. That's father. Safest thing. Safe, you know your father always protected you. Remember? Always protected you since you were a kid for millions of years. Millions of years before humans became human, right? Mom, mom, sweet, kind, soft. Mom, nurturing, milk, warm, holding, fluid, beautiful, sensory. Dad, thought, idea, knowledge, strength. Mom, detail, colors. She loves sweets, fruits, berries. Dad's a bit different, right? He's a builder. He knows rocks, he knows woods, he knows the sand, he knows the earth, he knows the animals. He's a bit different, right? So these two ideas came first, and they would give us so many semantics that would later form these sounds, this first lexicon, and that this would then later diverge according to where this development would take us. And in Europe, this took us to an individualistic one. We did not want to, or we began extracting ourselves so much from existence, from nature, from life, that we were the first to develop a selfishness, the self, which is where we get the myth of Narcissus. We don't hear about that myth anywhere else. We hear it in Europe. Those people saw themselves in the water and fell in love with themselves. And they were probably the first one who were blonde and blue-eyed. So they saw themselves as much more beautiful than everybody else. Most probably. And everybody else probably also saw them a bit different because they were different. They were white. They were not like everybody else. So they began following them and reinforcing their narcissistic tendencies. And this narcissistic tendencies will just grow and grow and grow. And then we will get more and more royalties or elites or Greek states. Now we will see a real divergence, because now these what was originally a family became not a family, became different groups. And that with time, these different groups would develop so much so that they would represent a distinct branch. Yes. Is it true? Well, we'll see. Okay. I'm giving you a lot of information here. I know, okay, but don't be afraid. This is not hocus pocus. I'm taking the opposite approach from mainstream scientists. I'm going from the root out. They've gone from the out in, and trying to find the root, right? Which they have failed. They have not found the root, which means that they have not been able to link all our language families, which we should be able to do because we know we originated from the same family. Okay. So while these appear promising, most historical linguists argue that they are either coincidences, borrowings through ancient contexts, sure, and part of the ancient linguistic area, Sprachbund. Sure, okay. And yes, it's a mixture of both. It's a mixture of both. It will be that It will have universals and exceptions because development occurs differently. Not everybody hears everything, and not everybody hears it at the same time. So some were the first to hear something, and they would develop further and faster, and then someone else. But then those other ones would also hear it and implement it later into their language, so that um, it goes in and out of everyone. So we've all been mixed and tricked and etc. and so on and so forth, especially now. But back then, this divergence had to occur first, right? We had to diverge first from this common root to become those distinct people that we have before to then represent something that seemingly seems unrelated. Okay. Now it's telling me, sure, that this has been attempted before, right? But it is saying something. Wait a second. It is telling me how to do this. Yes, your theory that a shared lexicon may predate morphological divergence and reflect early shared cognitive patterns is unconventional, but worth exploring. Yes, it is, especially in the context of macro-comparative linguistic. We are actually looking at macro-cognitive, macro psycholinguistic development. That is what we're looking at. Macro psycholinguistic development. Okay. Now we will use the Albanian as the intermediary form between Semitic and Indo-European and follow the Albanian cognates to see if they act as a root phonemes for any Indo-European words. Okay. So Albanian as a conservative and archaic Indo-European language with debated origins may preserve older, less innovative morphemes. Okay, these preserved elements could potentially resemble or reflect ancient root forms that show similarities not only in European languages but also with Semitic roots. Yes, while Albanian might be a strong candidate, it is the only surviving branch of its subgroup. It has many lexical items that do not have clear Indo-European etymologies. It has preserved some archaic features lost in other Indo-European languages. It has had minimal documented direct contact with Semitic languages historically, making borrowing less likely. Yes, yes. Sure, we have some cautions and caveats. Sure, and there are stuff here that we need to look at. Okay, so yes, we need to look at many things. Now it is trying, but this is not it. This is because this is too late. This is too late. We need to go a bit earlier. Albanian nok. This is a very interesting one. Nok. No. No. Reflects may reflect the PIE ne or be a borrowing. But we see that yo, lo, yo, le. Well, I think that the le actually represent the le, but we didn't use that as a no. We began using that as leave. Leave that there. So that was not longer a no. It could be used as a no. Leave that there. And probably some people still do interchangeably or colloquially, but it does not mean no. It began meaning no in the Semitic ones, but not over here in Europe. Albanian at father shares a semantic field with a Semitic up. Yes. Phonetically, it lacks the PF, but that is because we're going a bit too early now. Remember, we are actually now at where father was just Yeah, father was just before it became ab and at. So we share the same root now, okay? We share the same root, right? We're going to the beginning before languages diverged, before we became different language families, okay? It's a bit difficult for linguists to grasp because they haven't looked at the skeleton of thought. Okay. What's next? Would you like to build that? Okay, fine. and then it did. But this is okay, sure. These are very good. Some of them are super good, but it doesn't really get it because it is using modern Albanian. But we need to take the root of the modern Albanian words, and that would link us to this to the other ones and very many other ones as well. Okay, but just bear with me. So sure. Mm, okay, so that was well over 40 minutes. So I need to make another video where we continue this one. Okay, so we'll call this one part 1. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Have a good day or evening wherever you are. Cheers, and see you in the next one.